Warrior.
Back for another video. As you guys seen on my last video, we went ahead and got rims and tires on my Nissan GTR. Today I'm going to go over on how to pick the best tire for your car, whether it be rear wheel drive, front wheel drive, or all wheel drive, and what all the numbers on the sidewall mean. So stay tuned. The next thing to talk about is whether you have a front wheel drive, rear wheel drive, or all wheel drive car, and why the tire size matters. The reason why it matters more on an all wheel drive car versus the front wheel and the rear wheel drive car is because you have an all-wheel drive system on the all-wheel drive car, so both your differentials are trying to work together to keep those tires rotating at the same speed to keep you traction. And so if you end up going too far up in the rear and you have a shorter tire in the front, it's going to cause a lot of friction on your gears and on your differentials and a lot of stress on your overall transmission. So when you are driving an all-wheel drive car, whenever you change out the tires, you want to make sure that you change out all 4 tires at the same time so you don't run into any additional issues. Because just by changing out all 4 tires, it is going to save you a huge transmission bill in the future. And so I recommend just always changing out all 4 tires if you have one that goes flat or you run into issues. Okay, so first what we're going to go over is we're going to go over the numbers on the sidewall and what they mean. This one is a 255/40 ZRF 2097Y, which to most people that would sound like a really intense mathematical equation, but tires honestly aren't that bad. So the first number, the 255, is from sidewall to sidewall in millimeters. The second one, the 40, it means 40% of 255 is how tall your tire is. And so later I'll show you a system on how to calculate your tires. And if you have an all-wheel drive tire, this profile matters more than anything, because if your front and back tires are rotating at different speeds, it can cause a lot of issues for you. The next one is going to be the 20, which is the size of the rims that are on the car. And so if you have an 18-inch, 19-inch, 20-inch, you want to make sure that number matches the size of rims that you have. The next one is going to be the load rating. This one has a 97 load rating, which is typically around 85. It's 1,000 pounds per tire if it has a load rating of 85. The next number is going to be an alphanumerical character, which is like Y, X. So if you have a Z-rated tire, Y-rated tire, this one's a Y-rated tire, which means on the speed index, this tire can go 187 miles an hour without having any issues. And so that's the first part of your tire. So now the next set of numbers. So the next set of numbers are going to be your tread wear, which is, this one is a tread wear of 140. Then your traction rating, which is A. And then your temperature rating, which on this tire is also A. So for the first, your tread wear, this one has a tread wear of 140, which means that this tire probably won't last very long if it's being daily driven. These are more kind of like a tire that you would take out on the weekends to race around with. If you're daily driving it, you're going to want something more around the 300 to 500 tread wear range. The next one we're going to go through is the traction rating. So the traction rating is how well this tire is going to stop on a wet surface on concrete. Is typically how it's tested. And so this one has a tread wear of A, which means it does very well. And so you'll see anything from AA to A to B to C and so on. And so you just want to take a look at your tires and see what that rating is. The next one we're going to go over is the temperature rating. And so this is how well this tire dissipates heat at high speeds. So this one has an A rating, which is a very good tire as well. And so it dissipates heat very well at those higher temperatures. And so like I mentioned, this tire can do up to 186 miles an hour without having very many issues. And at that speed, it's going to produce a lot of friction, a lot of temperature, and that is what that temperature rating is. And so we'll go ahead and move on to the next part of the tire. So the next thing that I want to talk about is what you need when you're buying new tires. You end up needing new valve stems, so you always want to make sure you change those out, never reuse those, and TPS sensors, which is a tire pressure sensor. The tire pressure sensor is what tells your car if your car tire has low pressure or you need to end up putting air in it. And so always make sure that when you are buying new tires, because to be honest, tires are expensive, and that doing that TPS is really going to save you a lot of headache. And always make sure that you are rotating your tires I would probably say every 10 to 15,000 miles. You can always end up doing it sooner. Some places recommend every 3,000 to 5,000. And so you just want to make sure that you're evenly wearing those tires so one doesn't wear more than the other. The next thing to go over is the tire size. And so as I went over with you guys, this tire is a 255. On some tires, even with the same size of rim, you'll see that they have different numbers, and what those numbers are is sometimes you can increase them or decrease them to make sure that the tires on all sides of your vehicles are rotating at the same speeds. And so you can change a little bit of that number. You can go from a 255 to 265 to 275, and that sidewall you can go from a 40 to a 30. And again, I'll show you guys how to calculate that out to make sure that if you guys have an all-wheel drive vehicle that you guys know how to correctly calculate that and put the right tires on. But if your tires are rotating at a different speed, you are going to run into issues. And so we'll go ahead and show you how to calculate those. Okay, so this is a site that I really enjoy using to calculate out tire size. So these are what's on my GTR right now. On the front I have a 275 40 by 20, 315 35, and 20. So as you can tell in the diameter, there's no difference right here. There's no difference in sidewall, no difference in circum. There's no difference in rev per mile. They both are 704 and 704, which means they go at the same speeds. Before, on my car, I had this, what caused some issues with my all-wheel drive system, like I was mentioning. So it has a 4% difference in diameter, 13.2% difference in sidewall, and again 4% difference, and they were 28 revs per mile off. And so as you can see here, the first tire was 27.6 inches tall. The second one was 28.7 inches tall, which means that they rotated at completely different speeds. And right here, it would also tell you at what speed you would be doing each mile per hour. So when you go ahead and go to calculate out the correct tire sizes, if you put this one back to 40, then your miles per hour are back to normal. And so if you have a rear-wheel drive car, it's not going to really matter as much if you end up doing this, because your two rear tires are going to rotate at the same speed. However, your miles per hour will be substantially different. Alright, so the next part is how to choose the right tire and the right brand. So what I currently run on my Nissan GTR is I run the Nitto NT05s, and those are my favorite tires so far. I've ran these Bridgestones on my car, I've ran the Toyo R888s, and then I've also ran these NT05s. The NT05s, they have a really great temperature rating. It's a AAA temperature rating, 200 tread wear, so overall just a really great tire. And I don't have the specs for the Bridgestones, I don't have the specs for those Toyo tires. I'd heavily recommend looking those up. But for me personally, I really enjoy the NT05s. All around, just a great tire. You don't get a lot of rattling when you're driving, you don't get a lot of vibration, you don't get a lot of noise, and they're really grippy as well. And so if you want just all around a great tire, I recommend the NT05s. Thank you guys for watching another episode. Go ahead and hit that like and subscribe button. There will definitely be a lot more videos coming, and like I mentioned, I am going to be doing one on how to choose the right rims for your car. So stay tuned.